Hi, I'm Rick, Director at 8 Financial Planning. Today's video is focused on combining pensions. And it's important for me to start by saying I'm definitely not here to convince you to combine your pension. In fact, I wanted to do a video focused on the risks around this. And the reason why I wanted to do this is I see this everywhere. Combine your pension, simplify your pension, consolidate your pension. And I get it. If you've picked up 4 or 5 different pension schemes through various employments, some of them may be very small pension pots. And so it's easy to think, it's human nature to think, let's just make this easier. This will stop me losing a pension or forgetting about one. So I get it in terms of why this can be appealing. However, today I wanted to highlight the 4 key risks associated to this. These are the things you need to be aware of before you make the decision to combine your pension. And it's really important you actually do this. Within our firm, our starting point is to keep your pensions separate. Even though we understand this may not be the easiest and the simplest thing to do, it's absolutely the most important starting point. So let's dive into the considerations as to why. So the first key reason to why a pension should be left where it is something called protected tax-free cash. So just taking a step back, standard pensions allow you to withdraw up to 25% as a tax-free lump sum. That's a pretty general rule that applies to most pensions. However, there are certain types of pensions, often older historic schemes, that offer something called scheme-specific tax-free cash. What that means in plain English is rather than having 25% of your pension as a tax-free lump sum, these pensions give you a much greater proportion of tax-free cash. I've seen protected tax-free cash as high as 46%. I often see 33% protected tax-free cash. What this essentially means is you can draw a much larger proportion of your pension completely tax-free. Now, this is relatively rare, but like I said, it's often there in these older schemes. And the danger is, if you transfer a pension away from a scheme like this, you lose all of those preferential tax benefits. So that's the first really important consideration. You do not want to lose out on enhanced tax-free cash. The second reason why you may not want to transfer away from a pension is to do with lower charges. So let's take, for example, a massive employer like BT. They will often have hundreds of thousands of employees. So when they approach a pension company, they're able to negotiate special terms that are far lower than you or I could negotiate independently. And so I've seen fund charges within a workplace pension scheme as low as 0.004%. You cannot get anywhere close to those charges, meaning if you were to transfer out, in the case of that kind of pension scheme, you'd be paying substantially more in the new scheme. So you're losing out on access to those preferential pricing terms that have been negotiated by your employer. And so this is why understanding how much you'd be paying in your current scheme versus the new scheme is really important, especially when you factor in charges apply day on day, month on month, year on year, over a 10, 20, 30-year time frame. So just a small increase in charges can have a compound effect that takes thousands of pounds off your pension. So understanding whether your current scheme has preferential low pricing, what those charges are, and what those charges are on the new scheme is a really important consideration. The third really important consideration is something called access to guaranteed annuity rates. What that means is one of the options you have when you approach retirement, is rather than draw flexibly from your pension scheme, you can purchase an actual annuity which will give you an income, a guaranteed income for the rest of your life. Annuity rates fluctuate, often in line with interest rates. So we've seen how annuity rates, the percentage of income you will get from your pension pot, has substantially increased as we've seen interest rates increase over the recent years. Certain pension schemes have something called guaranteed annuity rates. These are often enhanced rates of income, and I've seen rates as high as 7, 8, 9%, but have been negotiated in often historic workplace pensions. So effectively, what that means is if you had a pension that had a guaranteed annuity rate and an enhanced rate, that could mean substantially more income, again, thousands of pounds over the term of that individual's life. That could be lost if you were to transfer out. As soon as you transfer out from these types of pensions, you move from guaranteed enhanced rates of income to whatever the market's paying at that moment in time. And often it means a lower rate of income. So look out for guaranteed annuity rates and ensure you don't miss out on the opportunity for more income from your pension. The final really important feature to look for within your existing pension scheme, if you're considering a transfer out, is something called protected retirement ages. From April 2028, the standard age at which you can draw from a money purchase pension, a standard pension pot, moves from 55 to 57. Now, most pensions will follow the new rules. However, there are certain historic pensions that have enshrined within their rules the opportunity to draw income from the age of 55, regardless of what happens to other wider rules. And so the danger is, if you were to transfer out of a scheme that has protected retirement ages, it means you lose access to potentially drawing your benefits at the age of 55 and will have to follow whatever the national age is at that moment in time. So transferring out means you cannot access your pension sooner than you could have if you'd left it there. This is a really important consideration because often people time the point in which they're able to stop working to the time at which they can draw their pension. So effectively, you're having to work longer because you've transferred out of a scheme that had this protected retirement age. This is a really important consideration. So look out and ask specifically about that feature before you consider transferring out. That summarizes the 4 key considerations you need to explore before you consider consolidating, simplifying your pensions. It's really important that a lot of the providers who are offering the opportunity to be able to consolidate your pensions do not provide financial advice. So you'll often be agreeing to a declaration that you will not receive financial advice and you may be disadvantaged as a result of the transfer, and you've got nowhere to take that to. You're simply losing out. I often fear for the thousands of people that lose out on these benefits because they don't have access to financial advice, or they just haven't taken the time to explore these. It's only 10, 15 years time this may come to light, and there's no chance of this being picked up by the regulator. And so I wanted to put this video together just to warn people of the dangers of simplifying your pension or combining your pension, and urge them to make those extra steps in understanding what your current pensions offer. And the important part is, if this seems onerous, if this seems a lot of work alongside a financial planner, someone who will take time to investigate this on your behalf. There could be some costs associated to that, but you've got to weigh that up to the benefits that advice is going to provide over the longer term. So overall, I hope you found this useful. I've been Rick, Director at 8 Financial Planning.